In recent years, we've been introduced to a whole slew of overpowered characters, and I have to say, as far as overpowered characters done right, I feel like I've been talking for years about how it's so hard to write them. However, people are just writing them worse and worse as time goes on. That all changes today. We're talking today about Alastor from Hazbin Hotel. That's right, Hazbin Hotel, the series that started as an indie comedy on YouTube and turned out to be an absolute juggernaut of the media industry, being the biggest prime series in a long time. Alastor is introduced very, very early on as the Radio Demon, a very goofy character that acts enshrouded in mystery. No one knows what his actual theories and reasonings behind what he's doing is. He's just kind of vibing, and he's the best written overpowered character I have seen since Sid Kagano from Eminence in Shadow, but we're not talking about that right now. Alright, let's get right into the nitty gritty. People have to realize that he's an amazing character. A lot of people talk about Hazbin Hotel from like a theory perspective, or from an overarching review perspective, or from an indie animation perspective. But let's get into the deep goddamn weeds of a character analysis on why Alastor is fantastic by every metric as a standalone overpowered character.
Oh, this will be fun.
4 years ago, when the pilot of Hazbin Hotel dropped on YouTube, it caused a cultural phenomena. And I'm talking about people calling Alastor daddy, and I was totally not one of them at all. Alastor gets introduced in the pilot of Hazbin Hotel as this radio demon who's been gone for a while and who has a hilarious radio-styled voice. He has this impending aura of death and destruction surrounding him. He is someone so terrifyingly powerful, the world itself shudders in his presence. The plot of Hazbin Hotel follows Charlie, the daughter of Lucifer, and how she wants to rehabilitate demons and whatever and sinners so that they can end up going to heaven, so hell's not overpopulated and heaven doesn't need to cause some sort of extermination to wipe out the overpopulated crowds of demons over there. The plot doesn't matter. She has this whole wholesome gimmick thing going on. Alastor shows up one day, scariest freaking demon. He is the strongest of the overlords, this class of demons that are just basically revered as some sort of noble tier character in the social hierarchy of hell, owning thousands of souls, or potentially up to millions of souls, as it's been mentioned in episode 3, of all these other sinners sitting around in hell. These guys are big bad news, and Alastor might be the biggest and baddest of these bad news guys. So he shows up, a twisted psychopath, a serial killer in his past life before he died and ended up a sinner in hell, and this guy wants to help. This is like the ultimate red flag, alright? You got someone who's like, everyone is scared of this guy. This man has become infamous because he has been known for hunting down other overlords, taking them into alleys, murdering them. The overlord vanishes. No one knows what happened to this overlord, this incredibly powerful person in the overall hierarchy of hell, and all of a sudden his death screams are broadcasted on freaking Alastor's radio show. If that's not the most gangster shit in the world, I don't know what is. And here he is to help Charlie out managing this hotel. This constant contradiction on a character level continues to remind us exactly what we are dealing. We are dealing with someone whose grand plans and schemes so much in the dark, and there is nothing that he says or does that we can possibly take at face value. As the series goes on and every character ends up getting more and more explored, their backstories, who they are, what they want, what their goals are. Bro, when it comes to characters like Angel Dust and even Serpentius, the greatest character of all time, you've had entire freaking character arcs surrounding these guys. You saw what they were, who they are, and what they want to become. And Alastor only becomes more and more mysterious every single episode. So as I've mentioned, him just encroaching in this story alone, not only is he overpowered as hell, summoning otherworldly Cthulhu monsters to take out his enemies, but he's seemingly acting out of, you know, just wanting to help other people. My man has such an altruistic nature. Gotta love how altruistic and wholesome this motherfucker is, bro. This is like freaking Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates giving money to charity to save the whales, and you're like, all right, dude, save the whales, but bro, you're on Epstein's list for a reason. I am doing this for the reason that anyone does anything. Sheer and utter boredom! Which definitely makes it clear that he is not doing it for everyone's best benefits, but ultimately his actions are definitely positive for Charlie's goal, so hell yeah, why not keep him on board? It is made more and more clear, just by simple insinuations over time, that boredom is not his primary goal. While he was definitely clear that his heart wasn't in actually keeping the hotel running and rehabilitating sinners, it's also very, very clear that boredom is not his primary objective, and his objectives are just shrouded in more and more mystery as every episode passes. Episode 2 of Hazbin Hotel introduces us to a very interesting rivalry. One of the greatest media juggernauts in hell is run by Velvet, who seems to manage some sort of fashion ring. You got Valentino, who basically is the chief pimp of hell, and then you got Vox, someone who's in charge of electronic gadgets and all sorts of television-related gizmos. All three of these individually are overlords. Vox specifically is an arch rival of Alastor. Alastor running the radio and him running the television makes them basically encroaching in each other's territory and real estate. It's been made very clear in one of the most badass freaking epic rap battles of history of all time, Alastor versus Vox, that Vox is absolutely terrified of Alastor, despite the fact that Alastor doesn't really seem all that threatened by Vox. And despite the fact that the radio seems out of date, Alastor is just incredibly jovial and confident that he's gonna make you wish that he'd stayed gone. Tune on in when he's done. Sorry, I got a little bit too into it there. This episode 2 and this whole battle versus the V's very much solidifies this man as an absolute behemoth in the Overlord sphere and in the actual political hellscape of hell. And the fact that someone who clearly has so many important things to do for purely selfish reasons, he is devoting all of his time and attention on this hotel is incredibly interesting, and again, continues to keep up his mystery. He definitely solidifies himself as an overpowered character, and he definitely keeps up that mystery and suspicion going as the entire series keeps on, to the point that he doesn't just give away his gimmick at the very beginning, and that's that. A major flaw that overpowered characters tend to have is that once they are already established as an overpowered character, the mystique is gone. The question is just gonna be, how are they gonna be defeated at this point, once they've established themselves as overpowered? Alastor manages to pull off an incredible trick here. You see, him being overpowered definitely gives credence and adds mystery to all of his actions, but it by no means is the penultimate aspect of his character. Introducing an anime villain that's overpowered, once they've already established that they are overpowered, everyone's panties drop and everyone orgasms, but that's essentially it. The rest of the story is mostly about trying to neutralize that threat instead of necessarily exploring it further. Alastor's being overpowered is not even the climax. Every time Alastor flexes his muscles and shows that he is no one to be trifled with and an absolute unit in regards to the actual power system of the hellscape, we are still just edging, dude. Okay, I don't know why I used the gooning metaphor, but yeah, it makes sense, okay? We're sticking with it now. It's too late. As the series keeps going, the mysteries keep unfurling, and the actual world continues to fill out as well. We have Alastor's meeting with all the overlords, which was awesome. Intelligence gathering, getting to see how respected he is among his peers. Even his clash with Serpentis and his massive machine. And by the way, let me remind you that Serpentis is probably the most based character of all time.
Sex with me.
Alastor is no one to be trifled with. He's overpowered, he's funny, he's confident, he's cocky, he has a fantastic personality, and he's shrouded in mystery. He is filled out on a character level aside from just being an overpowered super threat. But the main reason that prompted me to decide to make this video and really solidified in my mind that Alastor is an overpowered character done so right is episode 5, Dad versus Dad. This episode, in my mind, basically had me sit down, cross my fingers, and say, yup, Alastor isn't just some crazy overpowered character that's kind of mysterious and really well done and we like him. This really solidified in my mind that this man might be one of the best and overpowered characters I've seen in a long time. We are still in the introductory stage of how threatening this man actually is, and by no means is it slowing down even a little bit. So Alastor, as I've mentioned until this point, shows no actual personal interest in the hotel's succeeding. Alastor says that he's operating for the purposes of boredom, but he definitely insinuates that he has some much more sinister shit cooking up behind the scenes. This is the headspace that we're in regarding this character's goals and ideals. Incredibly vague stuff, really interesting stuff, Bro is so badass. And then Lucifer shows up, showing up to help Charlie, his daughter. Now, Lucifer's the head honcho. Compared to freaking Alastor, bro, you don't need the busboy when you have the chef. They are not in the same league in regards to power. Alastor may be someone incredibly overpowered, someone that when he disappeared for 7 years, all of hell was shaking and talking about it. But to someone like freaking Lucifer, he is nothing. I think that there's a really good way to establish how strong Lucifer is, right? Again, this is just peak character writing in my mind. If you would just introduce Lucifer in the very beginning and he would be really strong, we would, okay, we get it, he's really strong. But when you have someone like Alastor, who basically steps on and swats people around him, someone who kills overlords for the meme and broadcasts their screams on the radio because, God, dude is a gangster. Someone so feared, so overpowered, and so terrifyingly strong that nothing in this story until this point actually posed some sort of threat to him. Showing that he is nothing before Lucifer just goes to show the actual magnitudes in this hierarchy of hell. See, Alastor doesn't exist merely in a vacuum. Every character in every story needs to not only be a good character, fleshed out and cool on their own right, but their character needs to also exist in the ecosystem of building up the characters that they interact with. And for Alastor, that makes us recognize the fact that Lucifer and Serpentis are both awesome. I will stand by my Egg King till my final day, goddammit. Even though I think he's probably gonna die in the final episode of the show, and I'm so sad. The death flags are there. He's just he's perfect. He's perfect. We need him to live forever, okay? I, Nux Pentis, swear that I will keep his legacy alive. But in this epic dad battle, also, aside from just promoting Lucifer as this really badass epic dude, he does something else. Something so interesting in regards to everything we understand about his motives. He gets in Charlie's good graces. His song against Alastor showed us a side of Alastor that we didn't know existed at all, and I believe it was all a facade. Now, on the one hand, maybe he's saying this to flex on Lucifer, okay? He's been around, he's been helping out, and she obviously likes him and appreciates him and sees him as having some sort of mentor-ish type figure in Charlie's life, and that's something. Now, he's either saying this because he feels something towards Charlie, which, again, as we've established so far, he's here because of boredom. He's here because of other nefarious shit. This is the first time he's ever showed any form of love or bond to Charlie, which is why Charlie was so touched when he actually said all of that. So, there is some crazy manipulation tactic going on here. He is playing this role of a dad character to Charlie, and it very much seems like that is part of his plan. Is he using Charlie's hotel to further some sort of goal, or was he ordered to be here by some even higher power? Because the biggest plot twist, probably of the entire series on a character level, and that's right, I'm even talking about Vaginosaurus, okay, is the fact that Husk leaks to this man and reveals that Alastor, just like Husk, is owned by someone as well. And Alastor goes absolutely crazy, breaks the fourth wall, breaks the television, man goes wild. Every time he has one of his freak out moments and the screen starts glitching, I start jizzing, homie. It was insanely badass. Husk was scared. I was sweating for other reasons than fear, to be completely honest, and a sore point was absolutely struck. All of a sudden, gears start turning in everyone's head. Lilith, the mom of Charlie, the wife of Lucifer, she's been gone for 7 years. Alastor's been gone for 7 years. That is not a coincidence, my guy. They have some sort of crazy connection going on. Is Alastor owned by Lilith? Is he here on his own agency, or because he was commanded to be? Someone who has been regarded as the head honcho and peak of the power ladder of this entire series has just been not only dethroned, but dethroned with so much mystery, it leads you to believe that everything you thought you knew about this character might have been a lie. And it leads you to have so many wonderings as to what his actual goals are, when throwing you right back into the weeds of mystery. I think probably just from a character perspective, it's extremely likely that Lilith sent him here to the hotel because he lost some sort of fight to Lilith trying to take over hell itself. I don't know, now he's here because he has to be here because Lilith told him to. Now he's playing it up that it's boredom and all that, but it very much looks like he's trying to get some sort of demon's deal going on with Charlie, really getting Charlie into his good graces. Charlie almost seeing him as like some sort of father, perhaps in a substitute to an actual parent. It almost looks like Alastor maybe being controlled by Lilith to be here, but he has his own plans and his own goals to get something personal on Lilith and Lucifer. I don't know what this man's end, but what? It made it seem like that just being the strongest overlord, just being feared by everyone around him, just owning millions of other souls, just being an absolute giga chad within the social hierarchy of hell is nowhere near his final step. And for a sinner, not even hellborn, to have this much power in the hierarchy of hell, behind all of his posturing and joking around and memeing and laughing, this man is one of the most horrifying and mysteriously malicious characters we have ever bumped into in fictional history. The fact that the critics are gonna sit back in their chairs and say,
Oh, Hazbin Hotel, it's indie, it's garbage, we don't like it. Oh no, oh it's stupid, written by like babies.
I think every negative review that hits to Hazbin Hotel is either because of some sort of cringe Twitter shitstorm drama, garbage, whatever, I don't want to touch that, or it's from people jealous that an indie project like Hazbin Hotel evolved into something that genuinely touched so many people's hearts and souls. Saying that Alastor is any less than an overpowered character done right isn't just a matter of taste or a matter of opinion, but it's a lie. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed Overpowered done right. It's actually back. Who would have thought? And I'm covering a lot more characters in this story because goddamn, people cover this with lores and with theories, but no one actually hits this from a character analysis standpoint, and I will do that because someone has to take that mantle. God damn it. This has been me. Like and subscribe. Stay weird, fans.